This is why white people are afraid of black people.
I was brought up in, quote, Bedford-Stuyvesant in my time. But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
Shalom. First of all, I'd like to start off by giving all great honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors the teachers, elders, and the boss of Great Millstone. Likewise, brothers putting on this truth. Faithfully fearlessly feeding the sheep unto you, brothers and sisters. Tuning me. Shalom. Today's lesson is titled Edomites are paranoid sociopath. Take a look at the AI overview of what a sociopath is. It says a sociopath in layman's term is someone who exhibits a pattern of disregard for social norms, rules, and the right of others, often lacking empathy and remorse. See, that's Esau. While sociopath is not a clinical diagnosis, it is often used to describe individuals with antisocial personality disorder. Key characteristics include manipulating, exploiting, and harming others without feeling guilt or remorse. Think about it, brothers and sisters, if you've watched the video to this length. Okay, who is this describing? That's Esau. Okay, key characteristic: lack of empathy, disregard for rules and social norms. Basically, disregard for the way the Lord has set up how the earth should be conducted. Okay, in order. Okay, following the commandments. Okay, treating and respecting the Creator's creation, which Esau does none of this. Look at the earth. Look at the people. Manipulative behavior, okay? Starting from the Garden of Eden, okay? Esau, this devil, this snake, he's been manipulating everybody on this earth, including us, okay? He used Eve to do it, okay? But still, he's manipulating. And that's why he has 2/3 of our people right now that will do anything to have him continue on in his rulership. He said lack of remorse or guilt, okay? Impulsive and irresponsibility. Okay, they have impulsive behavior and they have superficial charm. They're very charming. Okay, that's what we always say, never trust thy enemy. Now, you saw in that opening clip, with Louis Farrakhan addressing the audience, which consisted mostly of Edomites and, of course, old school Jakes. You saw the Eve there shaking her head. And this was on a show called Donahue back in the day. And he was known for, controversial topics. He was kind of like the pre-Jerry Springer, remember the Jerry Springer show? Except his was a little bit more on topic of, race and politics and those things like that. And, he loved drama. And as you saw in that show, the old Edomite, she talked about being in fear, that they have this perception that so-called black people are violent. And, Louis Farrakhan, who was he was from a genre of men, that had TV time, to stand up and talk. They were, kind of like part of that civil rights movement, except they're the Nation of Islam. Okay, he addressed it. And you can see the pride on that old Edomite's face. She has already convinced herself that they have done nothing wrong, and they are the ones that should be in fear of their lives. Okay, let's go into the book of Psalms 94, and starting with verse 16, it reads, "Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Unless the Lord Yahweh had been my help, my soul had almost dwelt in silence." Now, again, when you saw in that video, Louis Farrakhan Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. These were the men back in the time, who were prominent on television, or the voice of so-called black people here in Great Babylon, America. Now you have the men of the Lord that are on the highway and the byway right now. We now have the unicorn to be on. The footage you saw was pre-internet, okay, pre-social media. So whatever was on that show for that 60 minutes, okay, is all you got, okay. And at that time, the Edomites, even at the poorest level, they were considered to be the people of prominence or better or superior, okay, because they were in established jobs and in established positions. But now we are seeing that fall. We are uncovering all the lies of the so-called white man. And that's because you have the men of the Lord, starting with the elders and teachers and prophets, okay, who've been given, okay, the ability to understand what's written in the scriptures, and we bring it out in the scripture form, okay, out in the highway and the byway, and we don't hold our tongue. So we're the ones that has risen up, the men of the Lord, the men that Yahweh Shai has chosen out of the world to go and stand boldly against these wicked devils, okay. This is the book of Job 20, and starting with verse 4. And it reads, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach into the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. So the thing that we bring out is that these people will never hold themselves accountable, okay? They're hypocrites, absolute hypocrites. She's talking about being fearful. Well, what about us? When we were running from the Ku Klux Klan, when we were being beaten to death, getting all the flogging in those plantations, okay? In the sugarcane factories. Even today, right now, in the prison system, which is basically an extension of slavery, okay? You have your sentries, okay, so-called cops going out there and deleting our people, at will. In fact, they're told that they have to meet a quota, okay, of murdering Jakes or so-called Negroes here in this country, okay. And the Latinos right now are getting it when they've always been getting it, okay. But to murder our people, but yet so you feel fear. So it's hypocritical, okay. But we understand that this is only for a short period of time, because Esau is a hireling, okay. So it's no surprise that you see this, okay. We know Louis Farrakhan, he's not a man of the Lord, as the brothers are going out there and preaching from his Bible. They deal with the Quran, and they're on a whole different thing. But back in the day, he was the face of Jake's really standing out there, who got some airtime. Now what you have right now is the spreading of this gospel, and now all eyes is now starting to look at the Hebrew Israelites. In particular, they're looking at the men that are teaching, okay, about this, okay. This is the book of Jeremiah 49 and 12. It reads, for thus said the Lord Yahweh Shai, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken, and thou he that shall altogether go unpunished. Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. She talking about fear, and Louis Farrakhan, he answered and he said, well, what y'all fear is the fact that we would at some point in time rule. Okay, being a rulership under us, and then you think of what would we do to you, okay? Well, okay, if the cup was passed to us and we were under the subject or subjection of Esau's rulership, and you've seen what he's done, I can sit down here all day and put pictures or videos of the whippings and the beatings we've done. I've done it in certain lessons last week, and several other times, so you get the picture, okay? Then what do you think would happen if, especially the fact that we were commanded to give Esau double what he has given to us, okay? This is Zechariah 11 and 4, okay? Because this is the attitude of that Edomite, okay? This is the attitude of a sociopath. It says, thus said the Lord, Yahweh Shai, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord Yahweh Shai, for I am rich, and their own shepherd pity them not. Now, guess what happened? But a lot of these men that were supposed to stand up against, evil and iniquity, okay, showcasing that they are not the servants of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Okay, they've all been bought out. Okay, Al Sharpton went into politics. He's speaking a whole different tone. He dropped all that weight. You have Jesse Jackson. He just went into oblivion. He's nowhere to be found or heard. And now you're a newer guy. Your newer so-called fight for black rights men are now mayors and governors, and they are doing everything that they could to preserve the integrity, okay, of a falling kingdom. All right. So they're not standing up against iniquity. Okay, they're all about themselves. And basically, they have sold us out, right? And so this really gives these confused sociopaths, okay, all the more reason to think we're doing the right thing. We didn't do anything wrong. Slavery was just our bad great grandparents or whatever the case like that. No, you are your father, okay? You are your parents, all right? This is Isaiah 14, and Psalms 21. It reads, "Prepare a slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess a land or fill the face of the earth of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, said the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Shemashai." And Lord of hosts, host means man of war, okay? The Lord is a man of war. "And cut off from Babylon the name, remnant, and son and nephew, said the Lord Yahweh Shemashai." So there is a rulership of us coming, okay, in the near future. The elites, they know this. Okay, you peasant psychopath or you peasant sociopath, you don't know about it because you're thinking more in a low-level kind of way. But I'm reading to you here how the Lord is breaking down this evil kingdom. And basically, when the time is right, the Malach will return, okay, and slaughter you people, okay, set up a heavenly kingdom, and you people go into perpetual slavery, okay? Let's go into the book of Ezekiel 35, and verse 5. Because you're not, these are the same people. Someone like her, she would sit down there and tell me she's a Christian and God-fearing and loving and all that stuff, and think that they're the people, the chosen people in the Bible, yet still it contradicts what the scripture says. Okay? Because there's, like Louis Farrakhan said, show me in history where we have rounded up white people and slaughtered them. Show me in history where we have found white people from trees. Show me in the history book. Yet still, their tongue is falling on themselves, and I'm able to just go and Google and find hundreds of pictures, if not thousands of pictures, articles, and all kinds of things showing the barbaric history of these wicked-ass doggone sociopaths and what they have done to us, and constantly what they're doing to us right now. Okay, because nothing they do can be hidden. It reads, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, said the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee." It ain't us. At least not now. The Lord is going to set y'all up, okay? And blood is going to pursue you. Blood is with death, okay? "Said thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. And I will fill his mountains with his slain men. In thy hills and in thy valleys and in thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword." Okay, and we know we got something going on right now where Putin is threatening America to blow up all of the fleets, okay, of the American naval ships. And I often bring that up, in regards to that. And I'm going to watch it, and I would like to do a lesson into that to see if I can put a visual together of what that would look like, But the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is going to work a judgment on these Edomites, okay, these sociopaths, okay? This is Matthew 24 and 29, because the elites are afraid of this is coming. But the whole earth, okay, the whole earth is going to see this. And at the time that this is taking place, they will already know that who's coming back in the chariots in great glory and grandeur is what they have been despising all their lives on this earth, a so-called black man. Okay, it says, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be dark, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." Of course, everybody else is going to be a UFO invasion, okay, on a scale incomprehensible. We've never seen it. ever, ever in the history of this earth. So this is, you have starvation, civil war all over the world. I mean, World War III going on. It's just insane. Okay, the chaos on this earth. And to make matters worse, everyone's looking in the sky and the whole world is going to see Yahweh Shai returning. Okay, you know, nighttime is just going to be bright in the sky. You can know that's not the moon, that's not the stars. That's an armada of ships coming towards the earth. People with their little telescope, you know, their little amateur telescope is going to look through there. They can snap photos of it, post it on the internet. The people are going to be delirious. People will be just dropping dead or the absolute fear of what they see. This is real. But guess what? Why we are going to be scared too? Because we're not scared of the fact that the ship is coming. We're scared if we're not chosen to get beamed up on those ships. Because it says here, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. That's what we're afraid of if we miss the ride. Because that means you was not chosen if you're not in the spirit world by then. Because if we're on earth, if you know, and I'll speak for me, if I'm on earth and the ships go by and grab everybody and I'm here, that means I'm going to eat a missile and I'm going to die another horrible way. I wasn't chosen. And that's the fear of every one of us right there. Okay, verse 31. Let's go into the book of Ezekiel 25 and 14. It reads, because that Edomite, she's talking, oh, y'all, with violence. Oh, there's going to be violence coming to y'all. Oh, don't you worry about it there. Okay, it's coming to you. It's coming to you, sociopath. What, you think you're just going to get away? I read in Jeremiah that the cup is going to be passed to you too. Oh, you're going to get it. Okay, it reads, and I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people, Israel, the 12 tribe of Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, not our anger, his anger, and according to my fury, not our fury, his fury, and they shall know my vengeance, said the Lord. Power. See that? Well, you think you're just going to round our people up, throw them in internment camps? And I'm going to go into it tomorrow, Lord willing, you know, during camp in regards to what's taking place out here in El Paso with this Camp Bliss. Okay? And, you know, this Camp Bliss. Keep my eye on that because I'm out here. I was out there on Fort Bliss, okay, which is an army base out here. Okay? They've got terrible things planned to come up against us, but then you and I act like you're in danger of your life when you're the one swinging the sword. You see the hypocrite, man. Let's go over with the book of Romans 9 and 12. Start verse 12. It reads, and this is the Lord speaking about in regards to Rebecca and telling her, basically telling her, look, even though these children haven't done anything and haven't been born, here's what really is going to happen with these two nations. It says, it was said unto her, the elder, Esau came up first, all red, shall serve the younger, which is Jacob, the 12th tribe of Israel, as it is written, Jacob, the 12 tribes, have I loved, but Esau, the Edomites, have I hated. So you see, the Lord loves us, and you see what he's done to us as judgments and punishment, but he hates Esau, that sociopath, that lying sack of shit, that pathological liar and sociopath. So yes, there is something for you crackers, you dusty old Edomites, to fear. There is great violence that's going to be coming for you, but it's coming by the Mashiach, because we are not to actually rise up against you with sword. We're rising up against you with words and calling your bullshit out. Lord will indeed like was edified at the close of by giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem. Shalom.